10864. Stations your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Up and in. 1.4 to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field. Back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
It's a big top 10 showdown at Autzen Stadium coming your way 12:30 on Saturday. Fresh off a bye week and a lot going on around Oregon athletics. We're going to talk about all of it here in the Country Financial Studio. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks for being with us. It is the first top 10 showdown at Autzen Stadium since when? Quick trivia. Anybody? 2018. Oh. 2012. Jimmy Stanton knows the answer, folks. We're going to get to that. It's a big top 10 showdown. These are the fun ones. This is what it's all about. That's why things like ESPN's College Game Day come to town. They're going to be back for the first time since 2018. You were wrong, Scott. Sorry. Come on. 2014 was the last time. Yeah. 2014 was the last time there was a top 10 showdown at Autzen Stadium. Pretty amazing that it's been that long of a time. Oregon against UCLA. Game Day will be in town. 12:30 kickoff on Fox. We'll have a 10:30 pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network. Happy to report that Lee Corso and the Duck will be reunited. It is one of the best relationships in all of collegiate sports. Really, it's just because the Duck is involved. I have no idea what the Duck has in store for the week, but it's a big week around the University of Oregon campus, so we're going to talk about all of that coming up. We also have a kickoff time to tell you about for Oregon football against Cal, another 12:30 kickoff. We love to see that down in Berkeley. Going to be on the Fox family of networks, Fox and FS1 on October 29th. Oregon at Cal, another 12:30 kickoff for the Ducks. Quick Pro Ducks news. Shout out to Kayvon Thibodeau. What an ending to the game that he was involved in for the New York Football Giants, and that was fun to see that really game-sealing play from Kayvon Thibodeau. Love to see that. Look at number 5 off the edge against a former NFL MVP. Love to see it. God, that's awesome. Seeing the Pro Ducks succeed. And then the pure emotion from him afterwards was really something. Shout out to Kayvon Thibodeau. Some other Pro Ducks news coming your way later on the show today. I'm wearing an Oregon basketball pullover today because single-game basketball tickets are now on sale. Go to GoDucks.com. The men's schedule and the women's schedule, they're posted. Start getting your tickets. Single-game tickets are on sale. And speaking of basketball, men's basketball ranked number 21 in the preseason AP poll. The preseason poll, I don't know. 21's nice. Being number 21 at the end of the year is nice. Being number 1 at the end of the year is really what you're after. That's what the Ducks are striving for. Also talking about women's basketball, shout out to Hina Pau, one of 20 players on the preseason watch list for the Nancy Lieberman Award. She was on that watch list last year. I think she's got a good chance to win it this year. Again, single-game tickets for men's and women's basketball are on sale. All right, this has been an interview years in the making. And Roger doesn't know this, but it is years in the making. The Vice President for Student Services and Enrollment Management, Roger Thompson, is here. How are you, sir?
I am fantastic, Joey. It's good to see you.
Gosh, it's great to have you in the studio. So I told Roger this story. When I was a student, I don't even remember, I'm going to be honest, the event and why I shook your hand. But I want everybody to know that I was not in his office for a disciplinary reason. It was like
That's the story you're sticking to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, God, you're ratting me out. Thanks
Sorry.
for that. Thank you. No, I think it was at some student function, one of the many that you're involved in your work. And I shook your hand and I introduced myself. I said, "Hey, thanks." And as soon as I'm done shaking Roger's hand, and I'm hoping he doesn't remember this, I actually tripped over my own foot. Almost completely face planted. It was not my finest moment. This was 18-year-old Joey Mack.
You've come a long way.
Yeah,
I think that's the message. Yeah.
I still trip over my shoes 11 years later. I'm going to be honest with you. Well, we have you on today for a number of different reasons. We have a lot to talk about, but everybody knows that we have a tradition. Every time somebody's on the show for the first time with me, you have to tell your 2-minute life story.
Wow, 2 minutes.
So there's a leaderboard.
Okay.
Closest anyone's ever gotten is a minute 59.56.
You're not going to have a running clock for me or something?
So I have a running clock on my end, but otherwise then you'd be able to see it. There's a leaderboard. Are you ready for your 2-minute life story?
I'm going to try.
Okay.
You didn't tell me who's at the top.
His name's Dave Butler, former Oregon volleyball assistant coach.
Okay. This is challenging.
Bo Nix famously said that he must have been cheating.
I'm with Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, you ready?
I guess.
On your mark, get set, go.
Okay, my 2-minute story. Grew up in Hillsboro, Oregon. Die-hard Duck fan.
Nice.
One of my first memories was my father bringing us down here to Autzen Stadium. In those days, it rained in Autzen Stadium, and sometimes the outcomes weren't so good. That was against the Huskies. I've hated them my whole life ever since. So that was childhood growing up. I took off. I went to college and have been a Duck fan my whole life. My family, lots of University of Oregon alums. My favorite Duck is actually my daughter, who graduated a couple years ago. So a lifetime of following the University of Oregon sports. My career took me to the University of Southern California, the University of Alabama, as I shared 8.5 years or 4 football coaches there, depending on how you want to measure it. Then went to Indiana University and then came home to the University of Oregon. And it's been absolutely fabulous since I got here. We have set records year after year. I work with fantastic people in athletics and across our campus, and we've really had a good run, our team and I. So that's the life story.
Minute 10.87.
Yeah. Well, I'm always, direct and to the
That's
point.
good. I appreciate that. As a professional communicator, if you can call me that, I'm really just a paid hobbyist. This is true. But, direct, efficient, that's what you're after.
See, I should have worked in my first trip to Mac Court story.
Oh, okay.
I should have done that. Yeah, well, my dad brought us down here, and I saw, I grew up in Hillsboro when it was a small town. And so we came down and we saw Ronnie Lee, who was an incredible basketball player, perhaps still my favorite Duck. And, then I spent 30 years away from the University of Oregon. And when I came back, I remember thinking, gosh, I'm so excited to get back into Mac Court. I remember that, just such a rocking stadium. And now as a adult and a grown man, those seats were kind of close to my knees, Joey.
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of, restrooms around. And it wasn't quite as fun as I remembered it.
Yeah.
And so when we moved into Matt Knight Arena, what a spectacular facility. A beautiful basketball
facility. Boy, that puts it in perspective, doesn't it, though?
Yeah, it
Cool
does.
to remember that. It's cool to remember that. So the Vice President for Student Services and Enrollment Management, what's a day look like in that job?
Boy, I'll tell you, you get it all in that job. We focus on trying to create the best student experience we can provide. And we have students from all 50 states, every county in Oregon, and about 100 countries around the world. And our goal is to exceed their expectations from the time we meet them until the time they graduate, and to help them become a great University of Oregon Duck who wants to always be involved in this university in some way.
That's awesome.
That's what we do.
Well, I got to tell you, I said this heading into this interview. The week of a top 10 matchup is a fun one. It's bigger than athletics. And so I wanted to touch on this with you because I've often said that I am the prime example of how athletics was a magnet for me to end up as a student at the University of Oregon. I was that person, right? I'm still sitting here to this day with that as in my bio, if you will, in the biography. How big of a deal is athletics for the overall university experience, recruiting campaign, all of those things? Because I know I'm biased, clearly, but I think that athletics are a big part of it. Is it as big of a deal as I think it is?
Absolutely. I mean, when you're a high school student and you imagine what college should be like, there's pieces of that you imagine, right? And a big piece of it for a lot of kids is walking from the University of Oregon campus across the bridge to Autzen, right? Over the river and through the woods. But instead of grandmother's house, you end up in a rocking house. And getting over there to Autzen Stadium, having that experience, our data tells us that about 2/3 of the kids that apply to the University of Oregon, athletics was one of the things that interests them.
Wow.
Right? Maybe they played sports in high school. Maybe they're just a sports fan. They don't decide, per se, on athletics, and that's maybe good. We'd rather have them decide that the J school is really good or the business school or whatever. But their interest becomes the University of Oregon athletics. And so, as I tell our team in admissions, our job is for every student who gets to know the University of Oregon through a fall Saturday, it's our job to tell them what happens Monday through Friday.
Right.
And if we do that effectively, they'll want to come to the University of Oregon.
Boy, that's so interesting, to think about that. It's all part of – we talk a lot, for example, about the student-athlete experience, right, in on this show in particular. And I feel like it's the student experience, it's all kind of rolled into one package.
Absolutely. And our students, I mean – they're going to be there for college game day.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest. The only question is what kind of signs are they going to bring when they show up?
I've already, believe me, the pit crew is already hard at work. I can confirm based on social media.
But so many students tell us that this is a key part of their University of Oregon experience, right? And it stays with you. It lasts a lifetime. If my sister were here, she would tell you about loading up her car, driving to the Rose Bowl for the Ducks versus Penn State.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a tough day on the field. Yeah. But those memories, they stick with you. And students come because they want to make those memories. And I'll let the cat out of the bag if you don't know it yet, Joey Mack. A great new student tradition. I'm not endorsing this. I'm just saying the students tell me that water, the pond around the Jaquia Center, is visited at midnight or later by many of our students as part of their new tradition. When I asked them what great traditions they were kind of embarrassed to tell me. I had a student group. I hope I'm not starting. I'm sorry, Rob, if I'm starting something bad. But I'm just telling you what the young people tell me. And, I'm not going to suggest that a vice president has done that too.
Sure.
But, you never know.
Well, I'll just say this. I have often also said, and Jimmy and Rob are about to laugh at this, I am just a professional regurgitator. I listen to people that are a lot smarter and a lot more interesting than I am, and then I just say it on the air in a way that people understand as part of a broadcast. And so you're just a professional regurgitator.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. That's what I've been told.
That's great. Roger Thompson joining us. Okay, so one of the reasons that I wanted to talk with you is game day. It's a big deal. We talk about how that's such a big pull for students, but there's more to it than that. Like this is all part of a big experience, and I think that it's worth noting, I talked about this on the show a few weeks ago, that this is a record-setting freshman class in a lot of different ways. At the expense of being overly self-depreciating, which I am, I would not have gotten in the same way that I did when I was applying in 2010 and 2011. It's changed quite a bit, and you're a big reason for that, Roger, and your team is a big reason for that. Tell fans about this freshman class and what's made it so special over the last decade and more as it's all grown and changed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of the team. This year was the largest freshman class we've ever enrolled in the history of the University of Oregon, and we've been enrolling freshman classes since 1876. Yeah. It was also the most academically prepared, 3.76 high school GPA. So as my wife said to me, I now lead an enrollment unit at a school I myself could not be admitted to, which has often been my goal, Joey Mack.
Sure.
But anyway, 3.76, the most diverse freshman class ever in the history of the school. And so we've just made tremendous progress. And, when we set a record for the largest freshman class in 2019, my good friend and colleague, our athletic director, said, man, that's like winning the Rose Bowl to do that. And so I don't know if this one's like a college playoff guy. I don't know what this one is.
Probably.
But it sure feels big, and I'm really proud of our team, who worked really hard with some headwinds with the pandemic.
Yeah.
We couldn't bring kids here to visit in the ways that we would have liked a lot of times. So it's a significant accomplishment, and I'm proud of them.
How difficult was that on the academic side? Because I can speak more to what happened in athletics and the challenges associated with the pandemic, but you can really speak to the academic side and the entire campus community.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough, and we on athletics, just the scale. We're trying to recruit 5,000 kids to make up a freshman class, and so it was tough not to have our students come here. And we have such great partnerships with athletics. We bring prospective students. We just did this fall for the Eastern Washington game. We brought talented kids from around the West Coast and hosted them as part of that football game at Autzen. And so those kinds of partnerships that help us, we were unable to do because of COVID. So we navigated our way through. We moved to remote recruitment. We did lots of things, but it was challenging.
You're more similar to a coach in terms of recruiting like a student athlete, I think, maybe than I thought about until we were just talking right now. I mean, you're really a professional recruiter for students in general.
Well, I like to say I can close a few. Yeah.
I like that.
No, we. Yeah, I mean, I care deeply about the University of Oregon, and there's a lot of us here at the university that have scoreboards.
Sure.
Rob's got a scoreboard as the athletic director. Mike's got a scoreboard as the development officer. Right. I got a scoreboard as the enrollment person. Yeah. And so we work really hard to connect with students and families. We take best practices, right? I saw Hatfield Dowling when it was done, and I said, boy, we need a student welcome center just like that. Maybe not quite just like that, but tailored to our students. So the similarities are there, and it's fun, and we've always had a good partnership to help encourage students. Think about the University of Oregon as an option.
That's awesome. Roger Thompson with us. Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot.
All right.
I know the application deadline is coming up, and that's sort of your guys' like recruiting cycle.
That's right.
That's the equivalent in the academic landscape. Imagine that the audience, if you will, your camera's over there. You can look straight at it.
Yeah.
Imagine that you're in a living room.
Yeah.
And you're closing a deal for a student to come to the University of Oregon. Now, not just student athletes. We're saying students, the whole student body. What's the closing pitch that you give them?
Well, a couple things. There's a lot of places you can go to school, and it's a 4-year commitment. The University of Oregon, you're going to spend a lifetime as a Duck. And what better place to do it than in a classic college town? There's so many universities that are in big cities, but you'll spend most of your life working in a big city. So instead, come to one of the top 32 public universities in the country where you can study just about anything you want. You'll have a great out-of-classroom experience, from athletics to theater to music. Heck, Bruno Mars just played Matt Knight Arena not that long ago. So it's a great university experience that awaits you. And then for your parents and your family, what I want you to know is that at the University of Oregon, we ask you to entrust us with what matters most in your life, your son or daughter. And if you entrust us with them, we will take good care of them, and we will ensure that they have a great University of Oregon experience. So that's why you ought to come. Come visit us, see what you think, and we would love to have you as part of the University of Oregon.
I think I'm going to run through a wall now.
I went soft. I was trying to go under the covers.
I thought that was
key.
I mean, it worked. It worked. So deadline's coming up, though. For
Deadline's coming up. Priority deadline is November 1. So we'd love to see students apply by that time. If they do so, we get them an answer by December 15th, just in time for them to make their bowl plans to join us.
Oh, good.
And then our last deadline is January 15th. But that November 1 is really important because kids here before the winter break, and that's kind of nice.
Uoregon.edu. Anything else they should know?
Well, yeah, you can hit the admissions site, which is admissions.uoregon.edu. That's got the application.
Conveniently named.
Well, we try. Or they can call 1-800-BE-A-DUCK. We'll talk to them on the phone.
Which I got to tell you is still one of the best phone numbers
Thank you.
I have ever. Was that you? Who came up with that? Do you know?
No, that was our team. I inherited that one.
It's a good team.
Yeah. Well, we have a great team. I'm so proud of them. Tomorrow, 250,000 students across this country. Our entire recruitment database will get information on how to watch College Game Day on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
When we won the Rose Bowl, you left out Marcus Mariota on the Great Ducks, incidentally, Joey.
Yeah,
he was 13
good.
or 14. He was tough. Anyway, that Rose Bowl that we won when we beat Florida State, my team here in Eugene, I was in Pasadena enjoying it. The team was working so hard. Within an hour, we had the message out that we were going to Dallas to play for the national championship, and we did a recruitment event down in Dallas that was fantastic.
That's awesome.
So, great team.
Well, you're welcome back here anytime.
Thank you.
I know you probably don't have time in your day for other things, but if you ever just want to host this show and get everybody to run through a wall, I think that you can. So thanks for what you do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate all the support that we have with athletics and the way that we work together to make things happen. And we'll take it to the Bruins on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm very confident about
Big
that.
campus community.
That's right.
Will we see you at game day?
Yeah, I might be there by the time Lee puts the headset on, the headgear. I'm not sure I'm going to be there early, but I feel confident this new class of college students, these freshman record setters, they're going to be out there in mass.
Yeah.
Did you see the photo of them, the class photo we took at Autzen?
Did. Awesome.
Oh, it was incredible.
How did you herd them all together like that?
I'm still amazed we did it.
Yeah, I don't know.
We herded them in, and the O actually looked like an O. I was driving our team crazy, Joey Mack. I kept telling them, you can't get 5,300 kids in that O. It's going to look like an egg. You got to figure out something else. And they kept saying, Roger, relax. We got it. And they had it. It was good.
Herding cats. Thank you, sir.
You bet, Joey.
Really
Thanks for
appreciate
everything.
You're also going to hear from him coming up with Jerry Allen on the pregame show. 10:30 again for that 12:30 kickoff. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Go Ducks.
When we come back, what happened over the weekend? Nothing. No news whatsoever this week. Back after this, the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ready for our little forest adventure?
Yes! So much waiting for me. Yeah, I wanna go outside. I wanna be.
We're here.
Whoa, that was fast.
There's a forest closer than you think. Find a park or forest near you and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by USDA Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Man, you know, these weeks are great because there's such a buzz around campus. Like so I'm also an instructor in the journalism school at the University of Oregon now, and walking around on campus, I love that I'm not over there just like for events at Matthew Knight Arena. I'm kind of around campus a little bit more, and I felt it last week. Like the bye week, there was sort of this like calm anticipation before the storm, you know, and now you really feel it. And that's part of why we had Roger come on, because this is one that this is a game that goes beyond athletics. That's what makes it so fun and part of the University of Oregon community. It's pretty great. So Tobias says herding ducks, Joey, this ain't zone it. No, Tobias, no, I disagree, because herding ducks is easy. Herding cats, like the phrase says, is difficult. So that admissions photo, though, if you didn't see it, we showed it on the show. I don't know if Scott still has it in the system. But the admissions photo, they all, for this record-breaking freshman class, had all of them on the field at Autzen. Just really well done. Really well done. But this is a game that's bigger. We all know that, you know. All right, everybody's been asking me who the guest picker is going to be. I don't know who the guest picker is going to be. But I think that on social media, everybody has an idea of who they would like the guest picker to be. Somebody also noted, in addition to Roger, that I missed Marcus Mariota and the way that he performed for the Falcons. Yes. Well done, Marcus. Should have said that. As a 49ers fan, really pains me. And if Jerry Allen and Alex Stimson were in the room, I would mention the Padres and Dodgers series that happened this weekend. But I won't, because I just won't get the satisfaction from them here in the room. Over the weekend, your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill, Oregon volleyball, after losing to USC on Friday, they bounced back to beat UCLA in 5 sets. Trailing 2-1, number 17 Ducks, they rallied for a 5-set road win over UCLA Sunday afternoon inside Pauley Pavilion. Snapped the Ducks' 3-match skid, gave the program its first road victory over UCLA since 2018. Ducks are now 11-5 on the season, a 5-3 mark in Pac-12 play. The Oregon offense generated a .309 hitting percentage, 9th outing of the season at 300 or higher. Pretty impressive what the Ducks did, especially the way they've bounced back, dealing with some injuries and some adversity. Matt Ulmer going to be on the show on Wednesday coming up. And women's soccer, fresh off their 1-1 draw. Graham Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, will be with us here in the studio in a little while. That's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill, serving Northwest-inspired catering and takeout for your next gathering or meeting. Menus at cafeyum.com. It also could be for your next Joey Mac lunch, which is what I had for lunch today. When we come back, this is a cool connection. Of course, it's Oregon, it's UCLA, coming off the bye week. There's some cool connections because this year, the 2010 Oregon football team was inducted into the Duck Athletics Hall of Fame. Spencer Pasinger and David Paulson sat down with myself and Jerry Allen as part of the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and I thought this was such a cool connection. I wanted to make sure that we played this interview for you on the show this week because, of course, Chip Kelly is coming back. Pretty awesome connections in this game. A lot of good storylines. One of them when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. So part of the Hall of Fame class for the 2010 induction ceremony, or the 2010 football team in the 2022 induction ceremony, It was awesome catching up with David Paulson and Spencer Pasinger. We asked an offensive guy and a defensive guy to represent this 2010 team up on stage. Jerry and I sat down with them, and I thought it was a cool thing for everybody to hear this week. This was just a few weeks ago when we sat down and did this ceremony. Because Chip Kelly is coming back. And I want to say everybody was asking, like, oh, did Chip get to come to the induction ceremony? They had a game the next day. UCLA did, so he didn't come to the event. But he sent in a video. And I got to tell you, Chip basically recounted the entire season from his perspective in this video that he sent in, just completely unscripted. And it was like, man, it's pretty special hearing about that team. You hear the call from Jerry in our broadcast open for every OSN broadcast still. So it was a big year. And it was fun catching up with these guys, and I think a lot of memories are going to come back of this era for Oregon football with this big game this week. David Paulson and Spencer Pasinger, the Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Congratulations. You're here representing your team, the 2010 team. How special for each of you is it to come back and see all these guys here tonight? I'll start with you, Spencer.
Just tremendous. Some of these guys, we came in the same year together. A lot of these guys, were my last year here, but there's so much brotherhood in this room. Just seeing all their ugly faces and stuff, seeing how they've aged 10 years plus, it's amazing.
David, same question for you. What's it like?
It's awesome. Awesome to see everybody. The relationships you build over those years in college are really something special. And, a lot of these guys I haven't seen for a long time, but when you see them, it's like time never, didn't elapse. So you pick up right where you left off, I feel like, and you can still feel that connection and all that hard work that you put in together.
Coach Kelly talked about practice and just how competitive it was, how much fun it was. As he was talking about that, for both of you, start with you, Spencer, what came to your mind? Some memories of practice and just what it was like throughout the course of that season.
Just getting through the warm-up and then going straight into Fuji was just like a breakneck pace. And then obviously I think we all remember like the same 20-track playlist that he would play every single day, every single game, every week for months. There's still songs that pop up when I'm just out in the world that like it triggers something in me when I hear them because Chip put it on it. But the practices were amazing, highly competitive, and literally every time we got to game day, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, we're kind of laughing at the other team because we know we were going against better competition in practice. So it was iron sharpened iron.
David?
Yeah, I think the first thing that came to mind for me was Fuji. Just trying to get through that to begin practice, and but it definitely paid off, kind of like what Spencer was saying. I remember looking across at the D line late in games and just knowing that they couldn't even get in their stances because of the way we practice, and we were conditioned for that, and the other teams weren't.
There's no way you could talk about every member on that team because there's so many of you and you all contributed in so many different ways. But I know in talking to some players, there are certain guys that you did not like going against. Offensively, when you're going against the defense, just name a few guys that were like made you better and you just did not like going against. David, I'll start with you.
I mean, trying to block Brandon Bear with his arms that are 10 feet long, and that was never fun. But I think just every day going against the whole defense, Josh Cadude coming off the edge, trying to block him, trying to run routes against Boyette and all the DBs, and, them talking the entire time because that's what DBs do. It was a lot of fun, but very competitive every day.
Michael's here somewhere, but we've had this sort of, 10, 12-year relationship of him thinking that he always beat me in one-on-ones. I remember it very differently. So we chomp at each other online, still on Twitter and everything, but also this guy right here, the surest hands I've ever seen in my opinion. At one point it was like every single catch was a first down or a touchdown from this guy. So there's so many people that I can name right now and fall into those deep memories, but those two guys right there were always fun to go against.
As you heard Coach Kelly going through the season and how he remembered it, and then you see some of the accomplishments. What do you guys remember for the team and the ebb and flow of the season and some of the big games and some of the big moments? What sticks out for both of you guys? David, we'll start with you.
I think that Tennessee game always sticks out to me, the orange for the entire stadium, us getting behind early, getting that thunderstorm, having a break real early in the game. and then coming out and just blowing them out of the water. I think that just a great memory for me. And then going down and beating USC is, huge as well.
I think there was a moment against the Stanford game. It's back when Andrew Luck was who he was, and they went up pretty, I think like by 15 or 20 points in the first half, and there was no panic on the sideline. Chip Kelly brought some of us together and said, hey, we've done everything we can to not win this game. Let's see if we can actually just win it now. Let's try to win it now. And it was as calm, as collected as how I just said it, and you could tell guys in the huddle were just like, well, yeah, you're right. We should just win this game. And from then on, we rattled off however many points we did, and it was just a testament to how much we trusted each other, how prepared we were, and if there was a hiccup or a lapse in something, we knew how to fix it right there and not let the wound bleed any further.
When you graduate and you move on, some of you have careers and move on and continue to play football. Many of you go into business and going to get married and have a family. How easy is it, or I shouldn't say how easy, do you get a chance to stay in touch with your brotherhood, with your family, the guys who are that team? Or is this like a reunion that you haven't seen everybody for the last 10 years?
I'd say for me, I should do a lot better job reaching out to these guys and staying connected. So it is kind of a reunion. I do get to see some of these guys at the, alumni golf tournament, the spring game, things like that. But it's awesome to see everybody in one spot and, catch up again.
I still keep in touch with a handful of my linebackers, that core group, as well as guys like, Chad Peppers and Brian Butterfield. But no, this is every bit the reunion that it is.
A lot is made of sort of the rise of Oregon football, right? Many of us around Oregon, you guys that have kept track of it, there are certain stepping stones, I feel like, in that rise. I think that it's safe to say, especially with this Hall of Fame induction, that your guys' team was probably, Oregon's made it. Oregon's got here. And it set a standard, in my opinion, that you guys were a big part of. Spencer, I'll start with you. Just how much does that mean to you guys, and how much pride does this team take in sort of setting a standard that has now become the standard at the University of Oregon?
Yeah, I think whenever, like you said, whenever you're talking about a program, you're looking for those definitive steps, and the fact that we were able to kind of be a foundation for a lot of the teams to ascend us to go and get the 5 stars and become a national brand and what it is. I personally reflect back to this one moment where, ironically, we had just lost to BYU in the Vegas Bowl, and this had to have been, I think it was 2006, I want to say. And we went to Camp Harlow. The coaches called us all together one late night, buses, drove to Camp Harlow, and we were there for hours just putting everything on the table. What was wrong with the program, players saying it, coaches saying it, and a lot of people give Chip Kelly credit for the saying, win the day. And if I remember correctly, it was actually Coach Greatwood that summed up the entire night, where he said, it all comes down to us winning the day, winning the play, winning our studying, everything, but it really comes down to win the day. So I do want to give Coach Greatwood his flowers with creating the slogan that defined our era.
I mean, I think in terms of, setting the stage or anything like that, I think we did have win the day as our slogan, and we really bought into that. So I don't think we've really thought about anything else but just trying to survive those practices, trying to, get as much out of it as we could, and try to look back at that. It's tough, but I will say where we've gone as a program, I'm glad I played here when I did, because I don't know if I would have got recruited here if I was a little bit younger.
You've talked about maybe some of the memories of the season. The one that I want you to try to talk about, if you can, we were all going crazy, cheering and crying, and going to a national championship game. At the end of the Oregon State game in Corvallis, when that clock hit 0 and the celebration started, what was it like?
I mean, we didn't have to wait until the end of that game. I remember the first play of the game, Casey went in and hit their quarterback and almost took him out the game. And that first play cemented it for us. We knew we were winning that game. So we were kind of celebrating on the sideline after that because it was already cemented for us. But being in the locker room, celebrating, being sort of that, that first team to get over that hump, especially against the Beavers. There's no feeling like it.
David, your memories of that?
Yeah, I mean, I remember one memory is Mike Clay doing that fake punt, taking it down the sideline, and I think that, kind of sealed it for me, like we were going to win the game. But yeah, I think just being in that locker room after the game and the kind of the emotions and realizing that, we finished undefeated and we're going to the national championship, it just felt surreal and a lot of emotions going around.
Well, I said it before. You guys will always be proud, I'm sure, and you remember, but for untold years to come, that plaque in the hall. That's your team, and it was special. Thank you to the 2010 football team for taking us there, huh?
That was awesome, man. Hall of Fame induction ceremony. That was Jerry and I talking with David Paulson, Spencer Paysinger. A lot of great memories from that era. And, of course, Chip Kelly going to be back with UCLA at Autzen Stadium. I saw somebody on YouTube asking, watching the full ceremony, if that's possible. And so, we haven't ever done that before. We've usually recorded them really for the inductees themselves. But if there's interest, I think that we could do that. I will run that up the flagpole, as they say. When we come back, Graeme Abel's here, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to see him on camera in a little bit. There! You got it. We got a big week for Oregon soccer. It's a big week, isn't it, Coach? Big week. All right. We're going to talk with Graeme Abel coming back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide to this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider is presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Graeme Abel is presented by the Oregon soccer team. Is that a fair assessment?
They would present me, yeah. Not sure they'd own me, but they present me.
Presenting, yeah, I like that. I like that. All right, you're back from the road. Let's talk a little bit about that before a big upcoming week. Kind of getting down the home stretch of the soccer season,
yeah, we're
aren't
getting into it. We're getting into it, yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel that? Like, is it like, yeah, this is what it's all about? This is the big time of the season?
It is. I think the progress for our program is, it's the third straight year we're going into it in a good place, and it's different than most of our programs in Oregon who are typically already in at this point. But we'll feel good that our kids keep putting us in this place, and we're getting the experience of being in this place. Now for us, it's crossing that line.
Yeah, so we're sitting at the point in the season now where you've got 5 matchups left.
Yep.
Coming off if I remember correctly, Coach, before your finale against Oregon State, this is your last 1-game weekend.
Yep.
So a chance for a little bit of recovery. I want to talk to you about that. A 1-1 draw up at Washington State last week on Friday. What'd you see from your squad?
Started the game really well. I mean, if you look at the game, we probably should have been 3-0 up in the first 10 minutes. I think we should have scored after 20 seconds. So the kids came out great. I mean, I think we spoke on the last episode about how good we've been on the road. And so the kids came out flying. To figure out what we ate for the pre-game there, feed it to them again. So, no, we first 10 minutes should have been up 3-0, and then, we allowed them to start to get back into the game. Didn't do as well in terms of moving the ball east to west. We started to become a little bit more vertical, which kind of played into their hands. They're a bit more of a man marking team in terms of how Washington State played. So, and we got to halftime 1-0, which was the plan. Let's get some momentum, and we let them back into the game, unfortunately, and we had to weather about a 20-minute storm, which we defended the 18-yard box extremely well between the 3 centre-backs and Leah, obviously. Had some big moments for us as well. And then, last 15 minutes, we had opportunities to win the game and go 2-1. So it's a difficult place to go. Obviously, Rach played there for 4 years. I worked there for a couple of years, and Pullman's a difficult place to go. So to come out of it with the tie, I said to the kids, I said, be disappointed we didn't get the win, but hey, we got a tie. That's a good result on the road, and so we've now got to recover and prepare for Stanford and Cal.
And 4-5-5 right now. And remember that magic number to be eligible for postseason is you got to be 500. That's why it's big few games coming up that I want to talk to you about.
Yeah, I mean it's been a weird season with regards to that piece. I think a few years ago, I think Duke went to the tournament at 6-6-6. You know what I mean? And so,
right.
And I think they actually made a run through the tournaments as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been a weird year with regards to. I obviously picked up a lot of ties early on, and so yeah, 5 games to go, and we're locked into it.
So that's why this is what I'm calling, coming down the home stretch. Okay, but I gotta say, I mean, the pregame meal matters, right?
It does. It does. Yeah.
So you don't remember what you had? Like, what was the pregame meal?
What did I have? I just had an omelette. That's all I had.
Okay.
Nice and light on the stomach. I got to warm the goalkeepers up these days,
sure.
So I don't need to be in the corner throwing up.
So do you remember what you said in your pregame speech? I mean, do you have to replicate the pregame speech also?
No, it's different from game to game.
Yeah.
It just depends, yeah. So it's every now and again, I may have a sledgehammer over my shoulder or something like that as a prop, or an axe, or I don't know, something.
Do you rehearse your pregame speech?
You got to think about it.
Yeah.
You got to think about it, because sometimes if you wing it, you're like, that was no good.
That wasn't
good. So
and then it's a 3-0 loss, and you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, you got to think about it in the context of things, and how can you tie it into other pieces. And so I've worked for some good head coaches for some good speeches, so yeah.
Okay, right. These are the things I didn't know that I was going to ask you.
Watch lots of movies. You can walk into was it Herb Brooks, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Miracle? Yeah, you can walk in and do that one.
Yeah, you might play them 10 times, might win 9.
Yeah.
Not
Today
tonight.
we are the greatest hockey team in the world.
See?
There you go.
That's
but
good.
You got to, it's like the.
Have you said today we are the greatest soccer team in the world in a pregame speech before?
No, I haven't done that one.
Okay,
no,
so we know what's coming in one of the next 5 for the rest of the season.
Yeah. What's the Jimmy V one?
Yeah, you could do the Jimmy V
the
one.
Green Bay Packers one where he slams the door. That's another good one.
So anyway, Graham Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, is joining us. Leah Freeman made 10 saves, leading the Pac-12 in saves and saves per game. She's continuing to be a really, really, really important piece to your team.
Yeah, some of them are not everyday saves either. I mean, she made one. I think it was in the first half of a header from about 5 to 6 yards out, and the fact that she pushes it up and gets the second ball. So between her and the back line, they were phenomenal at the weekend.
Well, and I wanted to double down with you because we've talked a lot about, like, when I ask you about Leah, for example, it's often about more than her, right? It's the defense too, and I know after the game you were complimentary of the way the entire defense played.
Yeah. I mean, you obviously start with Leah. I mean, I start with the environment that the goalkeepers have created for one another, training environments every single day. We always talk about you don't turn it on or you turn it off. You're locked on all the time, and the environment that those 4 have created together, I'm lucky enough. I get to work with them every day now, and I see the environment and the camaraderie they've got between the four of them, and how they work together and they coach one another, and it's awesome. And that Maddie and Leah kind of started that together, and Anna and Julia have come in and they've benefited from it as well. And then and it spreads throughout the entire group. So our backline, some big clearances. I mean, Ainsley, we put Ainsley in for the last 15-20, and she has a huge clearance at the end that probably would have been a goal, and she blocks it and the ball goes over the top. So huge moment for her as well.
Trinity Morales also got you a goal. Always fun.
Trinity, man, that kid works. So no, she's an awesome addition, and she's got a huge future. So
you talked about starting fast. I mean, do you feel like with this team, and now especially heading into the rest of the season, starting fast is a big key for you?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can grab a hold of the momentum right away, we talk about setting the tone, in the first 15, then, can you push that through and gain the momentum going into halftime? And we certainly did that the weekend, so that's something we'll look to try to do game to game for sure.
Zoe broke the record for career starts.
Yeah.
I might have spoiled it when we talked last week. I said, hey, it could happen. But it did happen now, Coach, so I can ask you and say, this is cool.
She's got to call Shah and apologize to Shah because she took Shah's record off of it. But Shah's okay. Shah's into the semi-final of the playoffs. So,
right.
So she's got that piece taken care of. But no, Zoe's up there, and that record will probably stand most likely because without the COVID piece anymore. And
it's amazing how record books are going to be impacted by that.
Yeah.
We're all going to look back 30 years from now and be like, how come there was a period where everybody played for extra games? It is going to matter, isn't it?
Yeah, so she'll probably hold that record for the rest of her career. So
still impacting your roster management? How long is that going to continue, you think, for your sport?
I think the last class is our junior class, right? Which is now smaller just because we have players move on to different places. I think maybe you'll see this the last year in the portal in terms of seeing those grad transfers come about. So it doesn't affect us too much. It did a little bit more last year, and then the year prior we got the free ones. So
right. Stanford.
Yeah.
Cal. 7 o'clock, it's on the Oregon live stream, and then on Pac-12 Oregon for the Stanford and Cal games, respectively. Of course, KWVA will have the broadcast on the radio side. Thursday, 7 o'clock, Stanford. Big-time matchup. What can you tell us about the Cardinal?
Well, they've set the standard, haven't they, for many years in our conference. The quality of players that they have and the quality of players that have come out of that program and gone on and played the pro level, national team level. So they're always a tough game. They're going to be really good in terms of possession. They'll have firepower all over the top of the field. Good defensively, athletic. Really, really tough team to play against. And they'll have a lot of the ball. So we'll have to be organised on the defending side of things, and make sure once we win the ball, then we can do things in transition.
It's also your guys' pink game, if I'm remembering correctly.
It is.
As well.
It is. So it's really important. We have a couple of players who are family members who are cancer survivors. My mother-in-law is as well. So a really, really important game for us that we get to honor those people.
Yeah, it's a nice week for everybody. It sets up with of course, big football game at Autzen, volleyball Friday, and you guys kick it off on Thursday night, setting the tone.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. None whatsoever. I also understand you guys got a bunch of alumni back in town. That's a cool piece to this.
We do. When I took over the program, I wanted to get the alumni back involved. COVID hits, and then, we're so concerned with trying to take care of our kids and make sure we get that piece. So this is the first real piece I've done with the alumni, which is crazy. It's been, nearly 3 years now. It's the first time we've been able to get them back on campus. So
wild.
Tori Powell's done an awesome job in terms of organising that for us, and we'll do a reception on Friday night over at the Jaqua. I think they'll be at the football game on Saturday, get to watch us on Sunday. So it's weird because I've coached against a bunch of them.
Right.
I even recruited some of them back in my Nevada days. But we had no chance of getting them. They were coming to Oregon, so it was. but coached against a bunch of them, so it'll be good to see some of those guys and meet them. And then my wife's going to be there as well because she coached some of them actually when she was here at Oregon. So it'll be really cool.
That's a cool connection. Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach. It's a big week for the Ducks. 4-5-5, the record right now. That could change. Will change. Hopefully, in the positive side. Gonna change in the positive
Optimistic,
side.
Joey. I like it.
See?
I like it.
Yeah. 7 o'clock at Pat Bay Field. We'll see you kicking off a big weekend with Oregon soccer. Hey.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Best of luck out there.
Appreciate it.
Break a leg? No, you don't say that unless it's like theater arts, huh? No. Yeah. So just good luck?
Just good luck will do.
Play well.
Play well. There we go. Go Ducks.
Go Ducks. When we come back, Wrapping up the show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. With honest conversations that let them know what we expect. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be shared with friends or family. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path, because when you talk, they hear you. Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We were just talking with Coach Abel on the way out, actually, about uniforms, and I was saying, like, man, it's a fun week when it's the pink game, right? Like, when you get the pink game for Oregon soccer, you get the pink game for Oregon football, it ends up becoming just such, like, an event. And I got to tell you, Oregon students back at home this week also for Duck volleyball, Friday at 6 o'clock against Utah, noon on Sunday against Colorado. I mean, it's an entire weekend of Duck athletics, and here's hoping that it's a 5-0 weekend, huh? That'd be nice. Oregon softball is also in action, by the way, on Sunday as well, as their fall ball schedule continues. More details, goducks.com. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to be out the next few days. I'm really upset, too. I'm missing it. I'm going to be out from Tuesday through Friday. Unfortunately, I had a death in the family, so I'm going to be out Tuesday through Friday. Jerry Allen and Jordan Brenner will be with you the next few days. Here's my request for fans before I get back for the game on Saturday. Have a grand old time. This is a big week. Go Ducks.
Meet Ed, movie buff, animal lover, safe driver.
5 years of driving an ambulance teaches you a thing or two. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. When I see a car trying to rush past a turning bus, I get concerned. You see, when big vehicles turn right, they have to swing wide to make the turn. And that's a lesson you don't want to learn the hard way. When trucks and buses turn, let's you and I wait.
It's our roads. It's our safety.
Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
I've been driving trucks for a long time, and safety is my #1 priority.